Hi, it's Valendula, and I'm here to give you some tips on your Chevening interview session. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Valinda Hart, and I'm a current Chevening Scholar 2022-2023, and I attend the University of South Wales, where I study Health and Public Service Management. So I'll be giving you a few tips on your Chevening interview that is coming up pretty soon. What's different from last year is that our interviews were in April. I think they started in April, but it seems like they're beginning in March this year. So good luck, guys. Now, before we begin with the interview questions, I think one of the best tips is to practice. Practice. First of all, let me pick up all my Caribbean people: Anguilla, Antigua, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, St. Vincent and Grenadines. All of you guys, congratulations for getting this far, and I wish you best of luck. I had the opportunity to practice with a Antiguan, and we had a lot of fun. We actually connected through the Facebook group page. Every year there's a group that you can join, and it is complete stress being in that group. So eventually I left because not everyone makes it, and everyone is just like updating each other on if they got an email, what the email said, or if we waited long. And last year they made us wait. Our timeline was not even close to what they told us. Like, the first thing I said to do is practice. Look at the questions. Chevening actually has questions on their page that are very beneficial, and that's because it's based on the essays. Before you get into the essays, I just want to say that practicing speaking is one of the things that you need to do. Practicing the questions is one part, but practicing how you interview is another. So for example, you don't want to be using your hands too much in your face, and you don't want to repeat yourself or say so those things. I'm a past Toastmasters alumni. I love Toastmasters, but I usually pause, and I'm not perfect, trust me, because I roll my eyes. But I've become more aware of my soles, arms, my lip smacks. So practicing is one of those things that you should do naturally when you speak to people, anyone. It can be your daughter, it can be even in a tough situation where you just want to scream and shout. Practice, remain calm, or even when you're speaking to your colleagues at work, so that you understand what you are saying. And if you're like someone that has run-on sentences or just has the gift of gab, I have the gift of gab. So I know I have to be very concise and clear with what I'm saying. Number 2, review your essays. Now, the interviewers are going to ask you questions that are kind of general, but they also will review your essays and your background so that they can ask you follow-up questions or have an idea of what your intentions are with the scholarship. Your essay submissions are basically what you're going to build your foundation on in the interview. I honestly think it's a way for the interviewers to confirm that you wrote the essays also, because I'm sure like some people don't write their essays, but it's a way for you to relate to what you wrote and to build on top of that. So review your essays, remember what you wrote, and that is what got you there, so use it to your advantage. Number 3, set the tone. Now, I'm interviewing in person. That's because I'm from a British overseas territory. So we go to the governor's office. In other territories or regions, they interview virtually, and setting the tone is something that you can take advantage of. So right now I'm gonna set the tone. I have an interview going on. I'm speaking to you guys, and I wanted to do this. Virtually, if you are having an interview, make sure that there's nothing to distract from you. Make sure that your interviewers remain focused on what you are saying and what you are projecting for your year studying in the UK. Get rid of all of the background noise as much as possible. Let this be the interview's focus. Now, if you're interviewing in person or virtually, I always set the tone with what I wear. It makes me comfortable, and I think It also sets up the environment for how people read you. I actually wore yellow to my interview session for two things. I wanted to wear something bright and Caribbean. I did not want to go in there like with a dull color, but I also wanted to use the colors that I had on as a message to what my objectives are. My course is Health and Public Service Management, but my focus is on maternal health and the policies that surround maternal care. I wanted to use the colors that are in my brand Caribbean Doula, which is magenta and yellow. Just wanted to be relaxed, so I wore a dress that has a really good length, and I wore the neckline that would not distract. Like I said, set the tone and make sure that the focus is all the answers that you're giving. So arrive on time. If you are interviewing in person, make sure that you are there at least. I went there half hour before just because I wanted to leave home on time and get there. If you're interviewing virtually, make sure that your connection is solid. You don't want the connection to drop during the interview. My Chevening sister from Barbados actually interviewed virtually. She was on a cruise and she got off at a port and did her interview at a Flow facility. So big up to Flow one time. And she was successful. She's here studying in London. Another way to set the tone is by having a solid introduction. Before you even get into like the meat of the questions, you can actually, put out some of your objectives, who you are and what you intend to do in your introduction. So you don't have to wait for the interviewers to ask you the questions, but you can build on that so they already know, look, I'm here, I'm ready, let's go. Number 4, relax, 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 relax. Promise you, relax. My interview session, and I think a few other people that I spoke to could attest to the interviewers being quite relatable, and I think that's something that they set out to do. Chevening is a very prestigious award, so I know the pressure is getting lesser every day while you're on this Chevening journey. But I think the interviewers, they set out to get you comfortable, and they try to set the tone also so that you are not just in your head and completely nervous. Yes, we are competitive, but they also know that we're human and the nerves can get to you. So relax in the interview, and they will try their best to, ask questions in a way that makes you comfortable. They want you to feel relaxed, so they're gonna ask you questions in a way that makes it feel like a conversation, and it really did. Now the interview can last 40 minutes to an hour. Mine lasted an hour, and I think I looked at the time and I was like, oh yeah, I used the entire hour, and I was not regretful of that at all. I remember the night before my interview, I got sick. I begged my mom to make some chicken soup and set me up because I think I was just quite anxious. I was sneezing while I was practicing, and that chicken soup set me up, and I was able to relax and have a meaningful conversation with my interviewers. And I think I really brought it home because, like I said, I love to talk, but you have to be mindful of the conversation that you're having. Number 5, compete. Compete, compete, compete. This is your opportunity to show your best. The questions that they'll ask you will be very general, like I said. They'll definitely ask you about leadership, networking, the courses that you chose, and what you intend to do while you're in the UK. Those are like the core questions. When you answer those questions, remember to keep it about yourself. Not in a selfish way, but this is an opportunity to show how good you are as a leader, as a mentor, how good you are at networking, and just your overall projection for your career. So whenever you answer a question, try to keep it about yourself. Don't talk about what the team did, but talk about what you did to lead the team or to put the team in a better position to meet the objectives or to be successful. So when you're answering questions, everyone can give an answer that is really good, but always think about that one thing that you can say that no one else can say. Make it about yourself. Make sure that your answers are unique or that they are really competitive. Like only 2% of the applicants get to the last round and actually get the scholarships. Make sure in your interview you set yourself up to set yourself aside from everyone else. Now, like I said, the questions that they're going to ask you will be based on your essay submissions, and it's going to be based on leadership, networking, what you chose, the universities and the course, and what you intend to do with it to better your region or your country. Have clear and concise information that they can follow. Hit all of your targets when you are answering. A strategy that Chevening suggests actually works. I think it's called a STAR task. We'll outline a situation, you say what the task is, what your action is, and then your result. When you're using a STAR strategy, give clear examples of how you have achieve certain objectives or what you intend to achieve, but make it clear so that the interviewers can follow along with whatever you're saying. One tip that I would give to everyone that's interviewing: when you are talking about the answers, give examples, but make sure that the examples can be based on the foundation that you've already set in your essays. For example, when my interviewers asked me about leadership and management, I was able to give them a clear situation. I was able to expand on a situation that I had where I led a team to be successful. Last year, for an environmental project, we won Best Village Award, which was quite difficult because it's hard to get people motivated and to be consistent in their inputs so that we can achieve our outcomes. So what I did was talk about sacrifice and how to motivate people and how to get people to see the results and buy into the vision that you have as a leader. You have to figure out strategies to keep your community involved. So my situation was trying to win Best Village for my community, and the tasks were to be involved in different events throughout the year that would add to points. The action was identifying people that I know can work as a team, building on what they have, using their strengths to actually contribute to the community. And then the result was that we won. And like I said, it was not easy, and sometimes it was yourself and probably two other people, or sometimes yourself, and I had to be honest about that. A lot of times as a leader you end up standing alone, but after the results, people are motivated to jump on and get the wagon going again. Another tip that I would give is think about someone in your course of study that is making changes throughout the world, whether it's someone that is like a trailblazer now in our generation, or someone that set the tone for what we now experience in whatever your area is. But having that and expounding on what they do and applying it to what you want to do is a really good talking point also. And lastly, I'd like to say, ask questions. There's an opportunity to ask questions, and make sure that you have 2 or 3 questions to ask. Even if you don't ask all of them, at least practice asking questions. It can be based on the UK, or it can be based on the conversation that you're having during the interview. The interviewers try to make you quite comfortable. My best advice is to remember that this is your interview and you can guide the interview. Yes, they're asking you questions, but at the end of the day, this is going to affect you. So take advantage of that. I remember the last question they asked is if you had anything to add. Yes, I had something to add, and I wanted to make sure that they knew. At the end of all of this conversation, if they didn't remember anything else, I want to be an advocate for a better maternal health system, and I want mothers to feel confident about pregnancy, labor, and birth, and having a positive birth experience. And I wanted that to be my last thing. Congratulations for making it this far, and good luck in your interview. Like I said, practice, be yourself, give clear examples, stand out from your competition. You have to be in it to win it. It's a Caribbean thing. I'm available to chat at CaribbeanDoula.com. That's Caribbean Doula, DOULA.com, or CaribbeanDoula@gmail.com. Bye.